What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Ra. His name is Nullus. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Isis. His name is Wiz. Moving on to game number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen, between Not So Old Wiz and Nullus. Yes, it is another game. It is another me. It's another you. And we are witness to it. Nullus taking that first game in a very, very long fashion here. We've got game number... What? We've got game... What? He sees the fish on the map. What's happening here? We've got game number 2 here between Wiz and Nullus. First game going till for a very long time there, with Nullus showing some some very, very nice Norse play in the first game, switching things up into his Egyptian here, whereas Wiz showing also some decent Greek, but also deciding to switch things up, going in with Isis for game number 2 here, as both players opting to effectively not go for fish in this game, as Nullus spots his fish, but Wiz also spots his fish and decides not to go for it. This map here is a small amount of fish for both players. So you get 6, 9, 12 fish each, and that's the rub of it. As we are seeing now, Wiz attempting to get himself the gold to put up a dock, and will he be chucking up a dock on? And will Nullus be chucking up a dock at this point? As we do see him on his berries over here. See some cows getting sent back home. Honestly, if Wiz can grab all of this fish, then he can go for the most brutal of strategies here. Like, if either player gets all the fish on this map, it's brutal strategies. You do see this gold getting grabbed as fast as possible. Monuments of the Villages coming up for Wiz very early as well here. I'm not sure what the play here is, though. Both players ignoring the water. So just as a bit of a background for some of the newer players out there, and why fish is so important in this game, and in effect any Age of Empires game where the fish is fairly well defensible and also gathers at a decent rate and is well priced, fish is going to be effectively... you just have to get it. Effectively, it's very important, necessary to get it. And the reason why it is because you're getting extra villagers. If a fishing ship is worth a villager or better than a villager, even if it's worth 75% of a villager, you are still effectively increasing your economy more than your opponent is by getting said fishing ship. So the only questions you have to ask in those games is, if you're not, let's say you're playing a different game, say you play Age of Empires 4, is can I defend my fish if my opponent goes without fish? And the answer in this game is yes, you can. And that's why getting this is the way to go. So sometimes I do see players asking, oh, is there any, can you go for no fish? Can you go for, can you not go for fish and be in a decent position? And I think the answer, I mean, unless it's like a very, very low fish spawn map, the answer is mostly no. There are some games where players have won without fish because the strategy is around rushing. So there is a pretty famous example of AOM King taking out Magyar in like 5 minutes or something on Highland. Now, Highland is its own unique map. That's fine, but it was a Set versus Oranos game where I think AOM King went for like a 3-minute 30 advance time and just went for a villager rush with Mercenary to kill off his opponent's town center, who he knows will not be able to get to the classical age until like 440-ish because of the citizen walking time to the middle of the map at the very earliest. So he gets himself at least 1 minute and 10 seconds to kill off his opponent's town center, which against the 2100 HP town center is possible. And he gets a cheeky win there. So that's one example of that being the case. So that's all I've got to say. We are seeing Bast coming through for Wiz here, as he is now currently in his base eating cows He's got one villager on wood, 2 villagers coming over to wood, getting himself, or we are seeing Nullus getting himself pickaxe. And with Nullus getting fish in this stage of the game, he's got to be happy about this. Like, he's not advancing yet. He doesn't need to advance yet. He's against Egyptian. Against Egyptian, it doesn't matter all too much. And what Wiz seems to be doing here is just saying, screw it. One town center, fast, heroic, all in. It's all on the line, all or nothing, and see how he's going to go. Whereas Nullus is just going to grab everything. So there's a world here where a fast, heroic through Nephthys into the siege tower push can kill off these docks fast, and you're not going to have to worry too much about those ships. In fact, siege towers are not counterable by ships who actually need units, and you can actually take out your opponent's docks that way as an idea. As we do see the Sphinx moving forward, we'll spot that stray villager here with 20 HP as she is running for the tower, and the Sphinx will not get there in time. But there is a priest out over here, which Wiz is happily going to start bashing away at, as Tar is on the way here. And we'll see how it's all going to go, as Nullus's dock is on the decline. And the armory over here on the way up as well for Wiz. Got Canopic Jar of Imseti coming through, or has been grabbed for Wiz as well. That's the reduction in infantry training time, which I'm not sure we're going to see all too much of here. Shaduf coming through for Nullus. Nephthys coming through for Wiz. And this is interesting because you see the heroic age coming in roughly before the second town center's even started. So there is a big shot here for Wiz to get some serious damage done, as the fishing ship's really not coming out that fast for Nullus here. He's just taking his time on them. He's not opting to spam them out at all here. So we've got priests spreading out on the map, throwing up an obelisk. I actually like this obelisk. If you chucked it right in the middle, you get full line of sight of this like kind of middle island area here. But Nullus is just playing super defensively. He does have a bit of a good time with separate gold mines on both sides of the map. So getting a gold staff here might be just a little bit challenging. As Nephthys does pop for Wiz. And we'll see what he's going to do with it, as he does decide to drop that gold off, and he will be moving forward here. You do have to be very, very careful with building forward against a Ra, because the Ra can potentially locust your villagers. But in this game, it seems like Nullus is going to be throwing up a rain here and is not even close to advancing, as the armory's not even up yet. And we'll see where Wiz wants to go. So what Wiz can do in this situation as well is throw a dock down and start fishing now, which is something we really would never see on a normal map, but is definitely an option here. And we are seeing this meat dog getting thrown down. He's going to put a stop to all of this fish here. So in a way, a fairly genius strategy here from Wiz. If Nullus had some archer ships out though, he would be able to put a stop to this, but obviously he doesn't know what's coming out. And now Wiz gets control of this left side dock here. And now we'll see what Wiz is going to be able to produce. He does have himself decent amounts of resources in the bank. He needs to spend them though. These villagers, I think, should normally automatically move over to the siege tower, but if you select your villagers with the pharaoh and you shift click, they don't move because they're waiting on the pharaoh to finish empowering, which will never happen. So that is a thing there, as you do see the rain getting cast hands of the pharaoh coming through for Nullus. He is going to be running out of this gold mine fairly shortly here, as we also see this dock getting taken down. And in this position here, we will be seeing Wiz taking the opportunity to throw some docks down himself to start his own fishing ship production here, which is an interesting way to get his economy going. But obviously Nullus is already 2 town centers, is already kind of set up, so this extra fish is going to get is going to help, but it's not going to put him in the lead. It might just make things a little bit more even for him. But he does need a lot more wood income right now. He does have himself hand axe, so it's a big help. And we'll see the dock getting taken out here as well. It's the fishing ship. Move over here. You do have to kind of kill these because they can throw a dock up on the other side, like Nullus is kind of done over here. And we're just going to move over here and clean up this other dock here. So we see some walls coming up. I love these walls for Nullus, trying to make sure he secures this gold mine. Some way, shape, or form will give him like a warning that Nullus is, that the Wiz is coming, because then he can just move over onto this gold retreat from here and be fine. And you see these fishing ships getting taken down by the Migdol. A handful of siege towers are out here now as segment coming through for Nullus. Ads of wet coming through for Wiz. I'm not sure he's 100% aware of how this technology works, but it doesn't give you enough of a boost to reduce your animation count at the hand axe level, which means you don't get an increase in effective gather rate. If you get yourself bow saw, however, it gives you a massive increase. So you do need to get ads of wet with bow saw as well to see that increase. As we do see the temple getting taken out, Citadel Center coming up here now for Nullus in an attempt to defend here as the Pharaoh moving forward. Going to get taken out as well. Got to be a little bit careful with that one. Losing that's a big deal here, as we do see a shifting sands onto the siege towers. The villagers will be able to take that out. And an Ancestor's Eclipse. Ooh. Ancestor's Eclipse being dropped over here. The villagers are going to be garrisoned immediately. There is a world where the Ancestors can take the town center down, but the villagers can pop out and repair this town center pretty quick smart. So it can be very tough to actually kill it off. As the Scarab does end up getting taken out by the Sphinx here. More buildings getting taken down. It can be really hard to actually target down a Citadel center here as the priests come over to deal with these Ancestors if you don't have enough units behind it to help out. We're seeing more fishing ship getting built here for Wiz. Just a couple more. He's building Elephant out as well. Oh, he's got so many siege towers now, as Nullus is going to be doing his darnest to hold here. This shows maybe just a little bit of, I mean, not the word probably just not having patience here in this matchup, because you don't really want to go for the Citadel Center. You want to go for the gold mine. As the villagers pop out, already pick off one siege tower. More villagers coming down to take out more. We'll see if the chariot archers can take out these villagers. It doesn't seem like they're actually targeting down the villagers as the Citadel Center is getting closer and closer to its demise. We do have masons through, though, for Nullus here, as Wizards siege towers are going down. Another siege tower in, and he's got 2 remaining. It's going to be incredibly close here, as the Citadel Center is at 100 HP. And will it go down? Yes, it will, as Wiz manages to destroy that one. Both players at 1 town center apiece. Wiz at 43 villages, 11 fishing ships. Nullus at 51 villages and 11 fishing ships with tons of food in the bank. But Wiz wastes so much economy to take that town center down. It was something like 6 or 7 siege towers there, I believe, which is something like 2,100 resources compared to a Citadel Center, which is 700. So that's a very, very difficult decision to have been made there, but Wiz does opt for it. Now we'll see where Wiz is going to go now. I would love to see this gold mine raided. I'd love to see this gold mine raided. But remember, Wiz is Isis. Isis's scouting is awful. You have to get that scouting done basically in the classical age with your Sphinx. Is Isis's job here to work out where to attack, or even in the heroic age with something else. We do see heavy cavalry coming through here now for Nullus. This is very scary for Wiz to deal with, though he does have the elephant. He does have an ability to make more fishing ships as well. But Wiz is just continuing to push in here. He might need to take his foot off the gas just a little bit, because Nullus is starting to get a healthy amount of cavalry out here to deal with these siege towers and the chariot archers that have been built. And unlike Set and Isis, Ra's heavy cavalry are incredibly scary. Got 183 HP on them, which is a lot. And we'll see. I mean, compared to the chariot archer, which is 99. So we'll see if they can actually make a push through here or not. As Wiz does retreat back as he loses those siege towers. Still no town center up for Wiz just yet. He does build himself a ramming galley going after these fishing ships that are on the those fishing spots over there. Wiz retreating back even further as Nullus is showing the might of simply getting heavy cavalry. Heavy cavalry is such a big ticket upgrade. I mean, let's just take a quick admiration of how much this actually gives. 18.7 HP. 18.7 HP is not a trivial amount. It's almost like 2 or 3 extra shots from your opponent to take out those units, which is a big deal, as we do see a second town center coming up for Wiz. I'm sure Nullus will be throwing up his own second town center any time in the near future. There he goes, as he does have the resources. Getting down an armory here as well. And you do see Nullus getting himself a war barge out over here. A ramming galley, very simply going to get trained here for Wiz to take that one out. More chariot archers are going to be getting taken down here, as Wiz still making those heavy chariots here. I think Wiz has got to be kicking himself just a little bit for not fishing this entirety of this water out, because he could be making himself some spearmen now, war elephants, lots of different options. Town centers are now coming out. Wiz's got a lot of food in the bank though to spam villagers, but he's only got the one Migdol, and in this moment Wiz is deciding, yep, better make some spearmen to deal with said heavy cavalry. So we'll see if he can get those out in time. But now Nullus is going to be able to start looking for villagers to raid left, right, and center here. As the town center is about to be up, Nullus can move to this town center, go to the Mythic Age, do whatever he really feels like. We're seeing Wiz go for his own third town center here, as he's struggling on resources. But I think maybe Wiz's economy here would be roughly similar to Nullus's in a big way. But he's just lost so many more resources than Nullus, as Nullus is able to hit Horus here. Like, remember those 2100 resource worth of siege towers he's lost, even more than that. That's equal to Horus, so that's why Nullus is able to afford this, and Wiz isn't. I'd be interested to see what the difference actually is in the end of this game. You see the Migdol stronghold getting taken down here, as Nullus doesn't even care. He's just like, great, let's kill that one off, pull back. We do see that heavy chariots has come through here, as Nullus is going to be retreating. There's the town center up for Wiz on that location there. There's the dock getting taken out. Another dock coming up now for Wiz on that location there. We'll see what Wiz can come up with here. Some spearmen, more spearmen are getting taken out. And now Nullus taking this opportunity to get his own third town center. There's no monuments on this town center or this one, so Nullus can take his choice at which town center to nuke with his tornado. And we don't have Mason's fortified town centers either, so it's definitely going to be at least a dead town center with that one. And I think the big thing right now for Nullus is he has to decide, does he stick with chariot with cavalry right now? And while these are only spearmen without any upgrades on the spearmen, it's completely fine. But does he stick with cavalry, or does he go into more of the spearmen based units here? A little bit, as we are seeing villagers making their way out to the corner of the map. Going to try and drop a marker down as much in the corner as you possibly can. Now, if you do take a look at the forest, you could put the marker here, or you could take the risk and put it here, which is the most efficient spot. It's a lot of gold income, but very, very close to his opponent's town center. As we are seeing a monument to the soldiers getting dropped over here, as the cavalry is making its way onto this location. Will we see that tornado coming in? Yes, we will. Will we see any dead villagers? Not quite. Every villager very low HP here, though, as Nullus decides to garrison here before leaving this location. You see the chariot archers getting chased down by the cavalry here. And We are seeing more heavy cavalry wandering through here. And there is a forward siege works getting dropped right outside this town center as well. It's going to be a difficult thing to deal with, as Nullus is going to be cleaning house here on these chariot archers. We're doing a good job, though, at holding on in this game. After taking all that damage, I feel like Wiz could easily grab this town center back if he so chose. He's giving himself 2,500 gold in the bank as more Scorpion Men getting pumped out here. The houses are going to get taken down in the middle of the map, though. It's going to be an issue, and there is a serious issue here for Wiz, which is a catapult coming out on this location to target down this town center here. As 3 Scorpion Men, seemingly too much for these cavalry to handle. So you're doing a lot of damage over there. Villagers making their way over to get this town center back for Wiz, and we'll see how long until he can get to the next age here, which is kind of the big question. He needs to get there. He doesn't have Horus, so he doesn't really have an advantage in the late game regardless of what he picks, but Osiris is going to give him a big set of Osiris unit to be using, and we'll see if he's going to be able to hang on with that. Alternatively, Thoth with some high amounts of favor income, which he doesn't have right now, could give him the Valley of the Kings and elephant raids and things like that with all the bonus resources that he's got. We are seeing some watchtowers getting dropped over here for Wiz, so maybe Wiz's idea here can be siege ships onto this town center, which I think it's in range, but it might be a little bit too far. As the walls are coming up over here, we do see a siege works getting dropped. The villagers walking forward, going to be putting a stop to this one, and we do see stray obelisk getting dropped over here as the market is up for Nullus. And the catapult is getting dropped here. Unfortunately for Nullus, he doesn't quite get this wall off because the town center denies it, but Wiz's town center now under threat as the cavalry still chasing down Wiz's spearmen in the top corner of this map, or the middle of this map, I should say. Now the villagers swinging around here, trying to deal with this catapult. They will pick it off. More catapults are on the way, though, for Nullus, as he's sending more units in here to deal with this. You do have to kind of get towers up to deal with these mercenary cavalry, but right now, there's plenty of resources in the bank, just not really spending them, which is a bit surprising. Definitely could be doing with heroic age, heavy spearmen, more towers, all the other good stuff. Spamming out those mercenary cavalry to try and deal with this. The town center going to be going down. Fortified town centers is on the way for Nullus, but not for Wiz, who's got 3,000 wood in the bank. You see this catapult is getting taken down. And really, where to now for Wiz is the big question. More towers up on this location. Walls coming through. Osiris finally coming through for Wiz, so he does opt for the Osiris here. As this catapult pops out right in front of 2 Wiz villagers. It's trying to retreat back here, keep itself alive. Seems like it's not going to be fast enough there. It will get taken out. Meanwhile, Nullus starting the trade route. No attempt at walls over here to kind of make this area safe, but Nullus getting further and further ahead in the economy here, it would seem, as a catapult does pop into the siege works here for Nullus. He's got a handful of villagers over here he could send forward. More Avengers coming in as well for Nullus, as we do see Wiz with his own war barge over here. So he definitely has the idea of making naval lock civilities. The question is this in range? Seems like it'll be right on the edge of range. Normally we don't see a town center not in range of the water and a town center in range of the water is the general rule. So we'll see what's going to happen there, as we do have the walls. They're up, stone walls as well to boot, as we see a stray villager here going to get taken down as the town center is slowly but surely going down. The walls not completely up yet, but enough to prevent raids on this one, as this town center is getting closer and closer to falling here. As the siege towers push in, and the fortified town center just comes in time here, but now we've got 2 catapults out for Nullus to take out his opponent's town center here, and Nullus does have to actually pay attention here, but he manages to take out one of those towers, and then the catapult auto focuses over here. The Pharaoh retreating into the town center here, and will pop out. He might just have to cast Son of Osiris on the low HP Pharaoh here, but the cavalry do spot that one, and they're going to say, do I kill that? Do I move in, get a little bit of damage done? What's the right play there? Nullus has managed to push Wiz back. Wiz at 145 of 146 population here. We do see some ramming galleys getting some good damage done onto the fishing ships here. Wiz not really paying attention to that one, as we're also seeing an attempt at grabbing the town center back for Wiz as more villagers are coming in, but I doubt that Nullus is ever going to allow Wiz back into this position now, so Wiz has to figure out where else he can go on the map to get something done here. As those spearmen go into town, we do see a random Migdol stronghold coming up in the front on the face of these catapults, and Wiz takes that opportunity there to just take them out nicely. Nullus's town center is going to get shot up pretty fast here with just 5 villagers and a Pharaoh. And I'm not sure that Wiz has got really the time to allow this to go up, so we'll see what he can do here. We are seeing a tower coming through. The villagers spot the catapult coming up, and now the villagers will start shanking away at the town center and see if they can hold this one down. Right now, Nullus is still making those cavalry, which really he should have been moving away from by now into more barracks-based units, especially with all the favor he had to make the Avenger. He could be making those super strong Horus Spearmen. So you see this town center is going to start getting put a stop to as the Pharaoh gets harassed just a little bit, but Siege Tower going to make its way in and completely put a stop to this. Here's a big problem. It's still got 1800 gold left in it, but it is a big problem for Wiz. He's only really got this gold mine left, and he hasn't started his trade route. He doesn't really have a location to put his trade route either. So we're now starting to see Migdol Stronghold and Siege Works side build on the top side of the map here for Nullus. As the village is getting pushed back. Son of Osiris is getting some good damage done for Wiz. One thing that Nullus could try, though he doesn't have a dock, he does have a dock here, is some archer ships through here to try and target down the Son of Osiris. Champion Cavalry coming through now for Nullus. It's going to be a big ticket upgrade yet again. Now starting to see some spearmen coming through for Nullus. Monument to the Pharaoh is coming up on the front here as well, trying to get all of that favor to make sure he can get the Horus upgrades in his barracks through when they come, as these 2 catapults rolling in as well. As Nullus going to finish off that fishing ship there. Heavy spearmen coming in. As the Osiris is holding well here, but Wiz is currently at 74 of 146 population. I don't see where all his population's really gone. He's got no food in the bank, which is the big problem. He's got no farms. No farms at 24 minutes into the game is absolute nightmare here, as the Son of Osiris does get targeted down pretty heavily there. 203 HP remaining. There's more units for Nullus, just going to keep streaming in here, and in that moment, Wiz does tap out. GG. Another funny one here from Wiz and Nullus. I think they both missed the fact there was fish here, so a very strange game, and I love the strangeness of these games. So there's almost a world where not telling the players that there's fish on the map could be better than telling the players that there's fish on the map. Let us know what you think about that one. That might be something we might change in the future, not for the tournament, but an idea nonetheless. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.